Just out for a run in Port Blair. Came to another part of the beach. And look at that waste. And this is how a lot of the waste will be getting into the sea, into the harbour area, which is just there. They'll be coming down these streams that come down from the town, which is up there, and they'll freaking go across the road here. You'll probably see it. Yeah, look, it's just being washed down when the heavy rains come. You can see all the way up there. It's due to the lack of collection and just the amount of waste being produced. And it's not a lack of collection, it's just a really inefficient collection, and that's the shame. They're spending a lot of money. They got 1,700 people working, collecting the waste, which is a phenomenal number. It's just inefficient. Just showing you that stream there. And this is it. This is the consequence of that stuff coming down. At high tide, it just gets washed up and lands on the shore, or swept out to sea, further out to sea. So this is what they call Phoenix Bay, just along from where I was filming there. This is where the boats to a lot of the islands, the tourist boats, leave from. And down here you can see there's a lot of fishing gear and other plastics, but it's a lot of nets are washed up. Even a poor sad dead dog right there. And there's one of those ferry boats just leaving now to one of the tourism islands. And the islands out there are very fantastic. There's some beautiful resorts. Just Port Blair being the commercial capital just becomes the most heavily polluted area. You can even see the plastics just under the water surface. Very sad. And this should be a very nice little sitting area to sit and look at the beauty and watch the boats go out to sea. So here's a typical example of these community bins, really uncontained, and it's sitting right next to one of these channels I was talking about. So this is the drainage channel coming from the town, and all this waste would have been washed down yesterday, but it's been blocked by this wooden chassis. I don't know what it is, but it's been tangled up. But this waste will be scattered as a lot of food waste ends up in this. There we go, we can see some there. And the dogs come along and rip through the bags, and in doing so they chuck it over the edge into these streams, and then it goes out into the sea there. And there's a lot of these bins are uncontained just because of the lack of equipment, but also because these bins get destroyed really easily, and especially in the typhoons or the monsoon rains, they get whipped up and blown away or smashed about. We can see any waste put in these near these drainage canals just gets washed straight down into the sea. We talked about animals going through the waste and distributing it around. Here we go. It's not dogs, it's cows. And I'll just quietly skip on past these cows. This is what I'm talking about, integration of the service.
बट इसका तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किसी और एजेंसी को दिया हुआ था ना?
गवर्नमेंट
दिया हुआ है सर, हम लोग को नाइट ड्यूटी है।
बट वो करते नहीं है क्या काम अपना?
पता नहीं सर, वो तो हम लोग को पता नहीं।
अच्छा अच्छा, आप करिए।
But this is commercial waste, eh?
This is commercial waste. He's saying the contract has been given, but they don't do their job properly.
Must be strong. Eh? Very strong. Here's one of these drains. You can see the drain on the other side of the road there, coming from the communities, and it's spilling out to the sea. You can see it's been dug out because it probably gets blocked all the time, so they have to dig it out to stop the flooding. And when they dig it out, it just comes out with all the waste. But we can see all sorts of stuff there. There's a fluorescent tube, but then the waste piled up around the seashore there, and again and again and again, same thing. There's another drain coming out here, and then we just see some of this will be foreign waste washed up, but a lot of this is waste that's come down these drains. This place stinks of dead animals or something, but I can't see where the dead animal is. Rotting fish maybe, I don't know. Could be a very nice tourism spot in that bay over there. That's a Forest Museum Island over there. Here's a prime spot. So here's where a drain is coming out from the town. You can see it's textiles, it's plastics, plastic bottles, wrappers, and that's all coming in. And there's the ladies cleaning the area right now. And this drain's coming down from these hotels. These are hotels and inns. These ladies are just sweeping the waste into a corner, and then it gets washed out here into the bay and back up here. So I didn't even see that when I was filming there. That's a community bin right there. Broken down, but when the wind whips up it's probably blowing it all over. So that's right next to that drain that we just saw here. There's some plastic just being washed down. So here's that community bin. And that's just impossible to clean with. Just with these monsoons and the winds that pick up here, because that's so close to the sea edge, no containment, but you can see it gets blown over the edge and straight into this bay area. So we've just been looking at the waste, and now here's a sign showing all the beautiful faunal wealth of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. protected under Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act 1972. We've been trying to protect them since 1972, and we just continue to throw our waste. In fact, right next to this is this bay that would have been built to take the waste. This is nice, the port area. Talked earlier about the wind. The wind's really whipped up here. You can really feel it. So I'm a bit hot and sweaty because I'm filming all this while I'm out for a morning run. I find that going out for a morning run around these cities and places we're trying to assist really gets me a good perspective of what the people are doing, what the waste management system is. It's the morning that the waste management system operates mainly, and I'm able to do this away from the officials that often show you the good side of things and are reluctant to show the entire picture for obvious reasons. So it's always good to come out in the morning. So what can we do about all this? I'm standing back where there's a lot of waste in the marine environment there, and dumping of waste off the side of the road here. So what can we do? We're on a project here to assist the Port Blair Municipal Corporation to strengthen what are known as SLRMs, solid and liquid resource management centres, small material recovery facilities. So we're looking to optimise them, but really the optimisation of those relies on the down chain and the up chain from there, which is the collection of the material that they provide to these SLRMs needs to be dry and recoverable with the organic waste, wet waste removed and taken to composting or other wet waste management. And I'm just coming up on one of these SLRMs right now. And the other thing is to stimulate the market. We're obviously on an island here, so there's not much manufacturing and there's not much of a market for plastics, etc. One good thing the municipal corporation has done here, they've banned, or the government here have banned plastic bottles less than 2 litres in volume. So you can't buy plastic bottles less than 2 litres in volume, which reduces the amount of plastic being generated. There's also extended producer responsibility coming in, especially for material, the low grade material that goes to cement kilns for energy from waste, but that has to go to Chennai. At the moment it's between 4 and 5 rupees per kilogram of material they get, but that just barely covers the freight cost, freight being quite expensive but subsidised for government containers. So this is one of the SLRMs. You can see the waste is piled up. And the problem is that it's low grade material is coming in. The centres are quite small and they don't really have, they're privatised, so they're contracted to a private operator, but that private operator has to pay 2 rupees per kilogram of material coming into these facilities before they sort it, so they've got to pay for the waste. Which the municipal corporation sees as quite a good thing because it's revenue generating, but really it's a bit of a disincentivization to the operator to process more. But what that does do is limits the amount of residual waste being generated, or should do, but obviously this is not being recycled. But there's 17 of these facilities in the Port Blair Municipal Corporation area, so we're trying to work with them to optimise their recovery rate, optimise their markets, and then we'll be training the municipal corporation to on their plan on how to collect. And collection waste management is often seen as an engineering task, but it's more of a logistics task. If anyone's worked for DHL, they're probably the best waste managers, because it's really like DHL, like sending a parcel. You book your courier, you either take it to a centre or you book a courier to come and pick it up from you. They take it to a depot where it gets moved to a bigger depot or a distribution centre. Then it's put on larger, more economical flights to where they're going. And similarly with waste management, here it's manually collected by these street sweepers and small vehicles, and then taken to transfer or to these SLRMs, from where it's sorted, and then the residual should go to that Brookshabad disposal site, and the recovered material goes to the markets, which are generally on the mainland. So very much a logistics. So we're working with them to try and optimize that logistical system, and make sure that these different links in the waste management chain are linked together. It's like a chain, and at the moment all these links are separate, and we're trying to just interlink them so that there's a continuity of flow of waste and it doesn't end up stagnating and then getting washed into these drains. So this is financed by the BMZ, the German Ministry of Environment, through GIZ, the German International Assistance Agency, and so we're working in Port Blair, Kampur and Kochi on this, and so hopefully we can help them to optimize their system and reduce the amount of plastics ending up in the marine environment.
Here we are trying to, as discussed with sanitary inspector, circular screening.
But this is tidal, huh? A lot of pigs. Oh, is this, all this waste is covered in oil, so it's highly contaminated. Effectively that becomes hazardous waste as a result. So this plastic nylon fishnet, they get a subsidy from the government of 75% off to buy new nets. So the old nets just get thrown away and they just buy a new net instead of going to any effort to repair them, which they used to do. So most of these nets along the side here are all being thrown away, and because they're so cheap, there's no value in them. But we found a vendor on the mainland that's willing to pay quite a good rate, 40 rupees per kilo. So we're just trying to work out how best to capture them in order to stop it going in the water. So here's one of the waste collectors collecting the waste from the households from the street. And so they use these crates because they're so numerous from the shipping and everything. And so she's take it to that little video. So this is green, and this is other. Okay.
He told us if you give me this tin, I will give you the 20 rupee.
Right.
And the SLRM center is getting in 2 rupee per kg. Earlier it was 50 paisa. Now they are getting me 2 rupee. And rest of the waste is collected by the suppose I made a presentation for this. CCP is investing 7.16 crore rupees on these vehicles. And
Just on renting or operating? Not buying. This is renting.
And you can generate your revenue 70 lakh rupees per month from the commercial area. PBMC can do it.
They can, but
They
are
can,
not.
but they are not doing. Or second thing, for this they give their commercial area to the private vendor. You will collect.
So this is Port Blair, Brookshabad, dump site. It's all on fire. You can see it's been on fire. All this is burnt away. There's some metals and stuff. And then it goes out to the sea right there. We can see in the riverways there all the plastics. The river runs straight around and then out to the sea. Nasty. It's in a quarry. And there's the sacred clouds right there. And we're right on the coast, just beyond there. There's the sea right there. Quite horrific, actually. Sure. Yeah. Barbecue pork. So here's the Brookshabad landfill on just outside Port Blair, and then it flows from there. Even though it's burning, comes down in a stream, and then what you have here is all the light plastics. They're coming from that landfill being washed back up. That one's a non-stop energy drink.
Energy drink
From
Thailand.
Another one was from
Another one was,
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
So a lot of this is foreign plastic washing up here on the shore. So it's not actually coming from the dump site up there. Not all of it is. Some of it is. COVID sample, PCR swabs. I don't know if it's even been tested. Probably just thrown away. There's a few of them. There's one there. Another one there. Another one. No. All along this. And this is supposed to be a material recovery facility, recovering all the plastics and stuff, but we're right on the coast here and it's just full of junk. This was an old glass shredder that's no longer in use, but there's glass everywhere. There's a lot of bottles. This is one of the SLRMs. It's operated by a private vendor under a license from PBMC. There's in the contract, it's just really basic who can operate it. There's no detail on who's responsible for managing the rejected waste and what has to happen, how long the material can be on site for, what volume of material can be on site. So that's not stipulated in the contract, and that's one of the weakest points.
Plastic waste for the sake of for the sake of EPR. So
they'll get some EPR funds for that, and it's going to the mainland as a bale, not shredded.
no shredded.
But do they get any benefit?
Yes, sir.
So what is the kind of so it's directly with the manufacturer. तो क्या होता है ऐसे बेल्ट चलती है धीरे-धीरे, ठीक है, 2 मीटर लंबी.
Glass. So all this is glass. 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 So this is the old glass shredder that they were using before. They say that was damaging their health. That was the reason.
Yes,
there was
yes,
no
yes.
extraction fan or respiration. Sorry? So we've got polystyrene. We've got paints and other materials. We've got fluorescent bulbs. We've got ink printer, ink toner, more fluorescent bulbs, CRTs, paints, more. In this shed here, there's abundance of hazardous wastes. Oils lying around everywhere. Full of oil, but all degraded. More paints, solvents, all left out in the open. More polystyrene. Ah, you've locked me in! This is what the stream that comes out of that MRF. Straight past through the Hazardous facility I was just looking at there. Lovely bay. And the stream we were just looking at comes out here. What a state. And here we have another side of the bay. A lovely tourism resort with people swimming and enjoying themselves. cruising about in boats. And then when we zoom back out a little bit, we see the detritus on the other side of the bay. Tragic.
Can you develop some net type